commentary, entertainment, sports, news, and opinion now. Here is Steve Malzberg.
We're going to have to be vigilant generally. Right now, the problem with ISIS is the fact that they are destabilizing a country that could spill over into some of our allies like Jordan, and that they are engaged in wars in Syria where, in that vacuum that's been created, they could amass more arms, more resources. But I think it's important for us to recognize that ISIS is just one of a number of organizations that we have to stay focused on.
All right, folks, welcome back. Time for the Malzberg panel, and joining us right now, a columnist for Breitbart.com, an American thinker, C. Edmund Wright, and Newsmax's White House correspondent, John Gizzi. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Steve.
All right, good to talk to both of you. All right, you know, all of a sudden, ISIS is a threat, and it's just one of many threats. And I got to tell you, Mika Brzezinski said to him in her interview, because, you know, Obama did a whole bunch of interviews, you know, you said Al-Qaeda was decimated. You said that, and he said, well, they were. Well, la-dee-da. You know, and as far as ISIS goes, guys, and let's start with you, John, they're driving around U.S. Humvees in Syria right now.
Well, it's not just that. They have repeatedly seized oil refineries in northern Iraq as well as Kurdistan, and along with that, the Central Bank of Iraq, which contained approximately $400 million in U.S. funds. That's enough to fund a virtual state so far. So ISIL, the Islamic State for Iraq and Levant, which is basically greater Syria, Jordan, Syria, and Palestine, is functioning as a state and growing. It certainly is not something that has just recovered recently. It's on the march.
Right, and Edmund, I mean, this is, you know, I read reports today where ISIS says they're going to go to Israel. I mean, this is crazy. And Obama, at least in that interview on Face the Nation, basically said, well, we're counting on the people to feel that and figure out that they're too violent and they'll reject them. What does that mean?
I don't know. What I thought, Steve, was pretty interesting was Obama talking about the vacuum that's been created over there, as if he had nothing to do with creating that vacuum. You know, this is the foreign policy equivalent of everything else in this administration, which is, you know, as soon as Obama can figure out who this rascally government is that's screwing everything up, you know, he's going to try and fix it. You know, everything John Gizzi said about ISIS is correct, but the vacuum is the Obama vacuum. That's why the vacuum is there.
Yeah, and John, now we have John Kerry in Iraq, and now he's hinting at the fact that there's going to be new elections, and I just don't see, you know, these decades of sectarian violence and rivalry and everything that goes with them being solved because Barack Obama and John Kerry are telling Iraq to get their legislative house in order.
No, I don't. And as a student of history, Steve, it reminds me eerily almost of the twilight days of the regime of President Diem in South Vietnam in 1963. The Kennedy administration and our ambassador, Henry Cabot Lodge, were repeatedly telling President Diem to expand his government, make changes, talk to the opposition, and in the end, his regime ended in tragedy. And every government that followed was never as stable as the Diem regime. And if you listen to some of the things coming out of the White House toward Prime Minister Maliki at this point, it has a very haunting sound of Southeast Asia half a century ago.
Edmund?
Yeah, interesting history lesson there. I'll defer to John Gizzi on that. I was too young to live through that in Vietnam, but yes, history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And as he said, that ended badly over there, and it looks like it's going to end very badly, you know, in Iraq, and we're going to be paying the price for that for many years.
All right, let's talk about something else, and I'll ask you how you think it's going to end. and that's this whole IRS fiasco. There's a hearing tonight, prime time, and Darrell Issa gets to ask lots of questions, lots of important questions, hopefully, the right questions, hopefully. But let me ask you what you think, Edmund, the end game is going to be. I mean, when you know you're going to you have a Justice Department that will not appoint a special prosecutor, will not be indicting people like Lois Lerner or others. What do you see happening in the end?
I'm afraid nothing is going to happen in the end, just because I've watched Koskinen testify. I've watched Lerner, Stephen Miller. Steve, these bureaucrats are untouchable, and they know it, and they're arrogant, and they look at us with disdain because they know we can't touch them. And it's like, we're doing you a favor, Congress, by even showing up. Obviously, this is not only a huge scandal because of how far up it goes. This is actually just day in and day out life with the IRS for average citizens, for an agency that's totally out of control.
John, what can we expect tonight, do you think?
Well, we certainly won't expect or get any cooperation from the White House. I was at the briefing there just a little while ago, and in his debut officially as the press secretary and top spokesman for the president, Josh Earnest made it clear to those who cover him that after 15 hearings and providing over 750,000 pages of testimony, the administration had just about had it with what they are deeming a witch hunt and conspiracy theory. And I would say, based on what Josh said today, one can see an administration and its mouthpieces at the IRS standing a little firmer, because they know 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is going to be their rock of support in this war with the other end of Pennsylvania Avenue. This is
just, quickly, 30 seconds.
Steve Scalise, new number 3 man as House Republican whip, was spelling out a strategy for further probes into the IRS and how not to let this issue die on the day that Eric Cantor resigned and triggered the sequences that made Mr. Scalise whip.
All right, we're going to have more on the other side. Hey, folks, you want to contact us, email, Twitter, Facebook, on anything we're talking about, comment on it, weigh in on it. Here's how you do it.